Stories and lessons, laughter and care. Auntie Nadyx brings warmth everywhere.
They said she was the happiest teacher in school, always smiling, always singing, always helping every child. To everyone, Miss Ada was the heart of her school. But no one knew that behind her bright smile, she was quietly falling apart. Every morning, Miss Ada arrived before anyone else. She tied ribbons, cleaned the board, and sometimes shared her lunch with pupils who forgot theirs. Parents adored her. Even the proprietress often said, "If only every teacher were like Miss Ada." But no one knew she hadn't paid her rent in 3 months, and her landlord had given her just 1 more week. One Friday afternoon, while marking scripts, her phone rings. She picked it up and froze. "Madame, by Monday, if you don't pay, I'll throw your things outside." Her eyes filled with tears, but just then the door opened. "Miss Ada, the parents of Chisoma complaining again. They said you shouted at their son." She quickly wiped her tears, forced a smile, and replied softly, "I'll handle it, ma." But that day, something in her heart broke a little more. Later that week, those same parents stormed the school. Angry voices filled the air. "How dare you embarrass my child?" one shouted. "Are you the only teacher here?" another added. Miss Ada bowed her head and apologized, even though all she'd done was stop the boy from pushing another child. When they left, she returned to class, smiled at her pupils, and continued teaching phonics, with tears hiding behind her eyes. That evening, she walked home under a drizzle, clutching her lesson notes to her chest. When she reached her gate, she stopped. Her belongings, her clothes, her books, even her certificate were outside in the mud. No one came to help. She quietly picked them up one by one and held her lesson plan close like it was her lifeline. That night, she slept on a friend's floor, beside a pile of unmarked exercise books. The next morning at school, she tried to act strong. She smiled as the pupils greeted, "Good morning, Ma." But mid-lesson, her voice cracked, the room blurred, and before anyone realized it, Miss Ada fainted beside the chalkboard. Children screamed. Some ran to call for help. Others cried, "Auntie Ada! Auntie Ada!" Hours later, she woke up on a hospital bed, a drip in her arm. Beside her sat the proprietress, holding her hand gently. "Why didn't you tell anyone, Ada?" she whispered. Miss Ada smiled faintly. "I didn't want to bother anyone. I just wanted to keep teaching." That night, while she rested, her phone wouldn't stop buzzing. Parents flooded her with messages. "Get well soon, Miss Ada. We're so sorry. We didn't know you were going through so much." Some even sent her money, the same parents who once shouted at her. When she returned to school a week later, she expected silence and stares. Instead, she walked into a hall decorated with balloons and banners that read, "To the teacher who never gave up." Children ran to hug her. Parents clapped. Someone handed her a gift box and an envelope filled with donations. For the first time in a long while, Miss Ada's tears weren't from pain, they were from love. Months later, during Teachers' Appreciation Day, Miss Ada was called to the stage. A representative smiled as she handed her a certificate of excellence. "This award," she said, "is for the teacher who reminds us that kindness still lives in classrooms." Miss Ada smiled humbly, her eyes glistening with gratitude. When she returned to her classroom, her pupils shouted joyfully, "Welcome back, Auntie Ada!" She raised her chalk and said, "Children, Let's learn something beautiful today." And that day, everyone finally understood. Teachers smile, not because life is easy, but because children deserve joy, even when they don't see it. To you, every teacher holding on, even when no one sees your struggle, we see you. We honor you. If this story touched your heart, click like, share, and subscribe to Auntie Nadyx Tales. Don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you never miss another real life-changing story.